Now,
Welcome to the Church of Mabus radio show. It's Friday night. It's 7:14 p.m. Central. We got Jay here with us. How you doing, Jay?
Doing pretty
And
good. Sorry, I'm a little dark. I don't have a whole lot of light in the new house, but if
okay,
I
that's
appear to be
fine.
a floating head, sorry.
That's right. You're glowing a little, but
Yeah.
June, can you hear me okay now? I know she's here with us, so I mean, it says she is. So hopefully, there's no. I don't know if there's a mic issue or something, but tonight's guest is June Lundgren, and says she's here, but for some reason it's
Bring your
not.
mic in a little bit. I can't hear you, Jeff.
Oh, hold on a second. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. I'm about to get a new mic, by the way. I just got to get paid in August, and I'm going to get one of those
Yeah.
fancy ones. I'm Poe, so I got to save to get stuff like that. But I wonder, I have no idea. Is it Mercury retrograde?
I thought it was over, but it looks like it's back.
It's
She just
over.
popped out.
Yeah, she left, so I don't know where she went. But I saw you for a minute, and you vanished. It's just crazy. I don't know what's going on. But anywho, been watching Loki. Is pretty good. You watch
Yeah, I
Loki
caught
yet?
up to it.
You like alligator Loki?
That was kind of weird. Did not expect that at all.
Me neither. But I mean, it's good. Definitely. There's only one more episode left
Oh,
for the
really?
season.
So,
For the
geez,
season. Yeah, for the season.
6 episodes. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of short.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. She popped up, and usually people don't have this much trouble. So she's not saying anything on Facebook. Maybe she quit. I don't know.
I don't know.
But hey, so you're caught up on Loki?
Yeah. I watched the 5 episodes that are out just the last 2 days. Not as exciting as I thought it would be, but I liked how they zoomed it in to where he disappears in Infinity War, and then that whole thing takes place after Endgame. So that's pretty neat.
Yeah. What's the speculation of whose little weird house that was at the end there and who it is? I've heard different things from Dracula to some dude named Kane the Conqueror or something like that to some other, but somebody that's running that whole TVA or whatever.
Yeah, and Dracula sounds like a good idea because isn't Mobius? Isn't he like the Marvel Universe vampire?
Morbius, yeah, Morbius is, but then there's Dracula, so there's different ones. They're not the same.
Yeah.
They're different
Yeah.
characters. But I know the new Dracula is going to be in Blade, the new Blade movie, and I think Ethan Hawke's going to play him.
Oh wow.
And that's what I hear. And then there's some, I forget who the black dude is, some cool dude that always does good movies, but he's got a different kind of name, so I don't remember it. But I know I've seen him in movies. But he's going to be the new Blade. I could look it up. I'm just too tired. But he's a cool dude.
Yeah, Wesley Snipes going to be in there too to like kind of pass the torch, isn't he?
That's possible. I've heard too.
That would be pretty cool. I thought he was really good in that role.
She read what I said, so I don't know what's going on. Oh my gosh. Oh, what a
The
metaphor.
retrograde must be back with us then.
Yeah, Saturn retrograde. I don't know. I don't think any kind of retrogrades are happening. There may be, I don't know, but Mercury ended for sure. Okay,
Here we go.
Hello, June. Can you hear me okay? We see you. So hopefully the mic's working. Let me tell her on Facebook we see you. We see you. But hopefully it straightens out in a minute. And let's see. Says she's with us, so I'm sure hopefully we'll get started shortly. Let me see. Gosh, this laptop sucks. But yeah, Loki.
She might have hit the mute button on the front of the StreamMate screen.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe she can hear us. Nod your head, June, if you can hear us. Can you hear us? Maybe not, but she's
Yeah,
there, and it's very strange.
yeah, we
Maybe a
can't
mic
hear
issue
you.
on her end. Let me see. Can you hear us? Uh, Unmute microphone, maybe. Well, the Loki I know is only 6 episodes, and I'm sure there's going to be other seasons, but definitely the variants and all that stuff is a trip, man. I like that Richard Grant old man Loki. That was pretty cool. The older
Yeah,
Loki dude.
in the traditional costume.
Yeah, he's based on the Kirby, the
Yeah,
Kirby
the Joe Kirby
Jack
version.
Kirby version. And I didn't know there were so many. But Kid Loki. Apparently, there was a Loki, Thor, Kid
Yeah,
Thor story. I don't know that one, but there was some kind of story in the comics a long time ago about Kid Loki and Thor Loki. Well, there she went.
yeah. She's changing her computers out.
Man, what a metaphor for the week. But so you did a
Yeah,
political. Oh, go ahead.
so I was gonna say we'll get it together. She's probably got a better computer than what she was on.
Yeah, I know she had a headset or something. So we'll figure it out. We'll see what's going on. If not, we're gonna be free balling.
We've done it before.
Yeah, Lord, give me strength because I'm not sure I have the strength.
Pretty tired too. I just moved into a new house, so I am spent. I mean, physically spent.
We've been dealing with the hospice thing here, and now
Oh yeah,
the grandmother cannot get out of the bed. She has to be changed in the bed and flipped over and all that stuff. She can't, like, she's too dangerous to lift her to put her in the commode, the portable commode.
yeah,
She just like starts flopping around and wanting to fall and saying, "I'm falling." It's like you wouldn't be falling if you would not flop around.
yeah,
I'm holding you. How are you gonna fall? But she starts freaking out, and last night it was bad, so she ain't gonna be leaving the bed no more. But regardless, it's depressing stuff. Seeing that every day, it's like, gee,
yeah.
it's our fate, pretty much. It's like that just makes you want to live fast, die hard, and put the pedal to the metal, like
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
like Hunter S. Thompson. He says,
Yep,
if you don't slide into death all beat up and worn out, then you did something wrong.
you're
So
right.
Hunter S. Thompson, Fear and Loathing in Florida.
Yeah,
This is back country. But I don't know where our guest is. There
here
she
we
is.
go. Nope.
She appeared and then she left. We're supposed to be talking about cleansing the demons from the lands tonight, so they don't want her here, I guess.
Yeah, that may be. The demons are interfering.
They are. The creatures of the night are interfering.
It's
And
not even that dark yet.
I know I was going to talk about doing some cleansing. And let me tell you, no one's ever had trouble with StreamYard before. So I don't know what's going on. We've been using it. There's never, not sure why there's any trouble, but who knows? We'll iron it out. Hopefully, if not, free balling, meat balling, free balling, meat balling. I'll sing all night. And then we'll
Yeah,
be
we
really,
can
really
figure something
screwed.
else to do besides that. I can't carry a tune in a bucket.
You can sing meatball free ball with me. But no, when I've never, I mean, my stepdad died, and I kind of ditched that. I visited sometimes, but I kind of stood away from him. So he didn't really like me anyway, I don't think. But he had an autoimmune disease, and I don't know. I think it was really kind of quick the way he went. But I'm sure there was weird stuff there, but I didn't live there. But it's just odd. It seems like the whole death and dying scenario makes your environment weird. Like just a lot of weird energies.
It
And
can
it
make
could
it
be,
toxic, I'm sure.
and yeah, I mean, like why do you think it would make it toxic? Just because it's death and dying? I mean, that makes
Yeah,
sense. But
dying's negative energy, so it can't be all good.
So you think Diane's negative energy, so that's what affects the environment. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just always trying to learn more about it because I'm not really used to it. My dad died suddenly, and he wasn't at home. It was just on the street, the sidewalk from a heart attack in the rain.
Yeah.
And so it's really my first experience. But everyone tells me it'll settle down after they go, and I don't know. I just know what I feel, and it don't feel like cotton candy all the time. That's
Yeah,
for
no, it definitely doesn't. Now, my parents passed away about 3 years ago, and
yours
it
did.
went all within a couple of months of each other. So it wasn't easy. I mean, my mom died like a couple of days before my dad's birthday. Then my dad died a couple of days after her birthday on their wedding anniversary on Thanksgiving Day. So it was a weird synchronicity that happened there.
So did they go through hospice and stuff with your parents when they
Uh,
passed?
my
You were there.
my dad, no, we weren't able to see my mom. She got the uh, I forget what they call it. I think it's skin eating disease, MRSA, at the hospital. So she was sequestered. No one was allowed to see her, but like the doctors. So we never I got to see her before she passed. And my dad was in hospice care. He was in assisted living, and he just while we were eating Thanksgiving dinner, we got a message that he passed in his sleep after dinner. So at least he went quick and painful, or painless rather. So my mom, I sure was in a lot of pain. She was had a skin eating disease, and they were giving her all kinds of antibiotics, and she's allergic to antibiotics. So that's probably what actually got her in the end was the antibiotics and the medicines.
Yeah, but so did it feel weird in your house? Obviously, from grief and mourning and just knowing what's going to happen, it feels like crap. But it's almost like a portal opens and the loved ones of the person who's dying are coming back and forth. It's kind of like a Ghostbusters hole in your house, and it's like pulling
Yeah.
you in with it to eat you. So you'll die too, is what it feels like. It's like there's an anomaly in the house, a vortex that's sucking your lungs to death. It's just a weird thing.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
the air definitely felt more stale after we found out when my dad died because me and my sister and her boyfriend and their kids were at the table and was just like, you know, weird stale silence after we found out.
Well, I know Don Webb dealt with his mother. I don't know who it was. I don't know if it was his mother, but something about
Can you hear me?
yes, hello,
Finally,
June.
holy cow, what the heck?
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Retro
I don't know what's going
Hallelujah.
My
you know,
stupid, no, it's one of those
you're
days.
here. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's one of those years.
yeah,
but it's good to have you here. I'm kind of new with StreamYard, so usually you just click a link and that's it. But I mean,
yeah.
I'm new.
Usually I don't have a problem with it, but today, of course, it's having problems. Of course, it is. Why not?
Well, June Lundgren here with us. And June, I want to talk to you about some stuff. I know you go by Demon, Seer, and things like that. And I was making jokes because I have weird stuff going on where I live right now that I wanted to ask you about. I was like, they're trying to keep us from talking, is what it seems like, which I may be
Yeah, I
being
think
paranoid,
so.
but it was.
Yeah,
Yeah, paranoia is possible,
yeah.
but but just to get maybe your opinion on the situation, me and Jay were talking about when you're living with someone who's dying, hospice.
Oh,
And I
yeah,
know
yeah,
you have a nurse background
yep.
and that you've dealt with these subjects before. Well, right now I live with my fiance, Christina. Her mother's here and her
Uh huh.
grandmother's 90 something, and she is going through hospice. And
Mm,
she is definitely like last night, we usually move her to the portable commode. We can't do that anymore because she keeps like just dropping weight, just dead
yeah,
weight and flopping and stuff. So now she's in the bed, and we have hospice coming in to, give her bed baths and stuff like that.
right.
But one thing I've noticed here, and I've heard people say, and I've had Don Webb on, a friend of mine, and he said that he dealt with someone which has dementia too. So he
Oh,
said
yeah,
the energy can make you feel like crap all the time. Well, when I was here at first, we felt okay, everything was fine, but it seems like as this has progressed, the energy here has just gotten uncomfortable or something, like painful almost. A lot of anxiety, a lot of just just unsettling. And I'm burning white sage. I'm doing affirmations. We even went to church to see, and I haven't been to church in a while, to church it up, and came back. It was like things got worse. But there's just weird stuff going on. And I'm kind of new to, being in the house, living with someone going through that, and someone with dementia and everything.
Yeah.
And then there's been times that we've seen perhaps odd things here. A glass blew up on a countertop for no reason. A crystal glass was not hot then cold. It had fruit cocktails, a thick crystal glass. One day it just blew up. No one was near it. And there's been weird things like seeing things, dogs acting weird. My dog Jack died here too, a little while back. And there's just been odd energies and stuff. I guess what I'm trying to figure out is it just seems like maybe there's also like her loved ones are coming through maybe a portal. There's a bar here that I stand at all the time and get cold chills. If I sit on the couch, which happens to actually be near a glass shelf with a lot of ashes of family members in the past, near my ear has been itching to where if you touch it and like, oh, that itches, it's like, don't do that because that's just going to make it worse. And I finally prayed and it went away, but it started coming back again. Just been weird stuff. I guess I'm just trying to figure. I think you know more about this with death and dying and stuff probably than me and what you deal with, but it seems like there may be some parasitical things here feeding or something. Like we've seen some weird like possible entities.
Yeah, every time somebody's, if somebody's dying, actively dying, like it sounds like that person is, then it will attract the loved ones. For one, they're waiting to take them home. It may also attract negative entities because they're drawn to death and they're drawn to depression, uh, anxiety. The air will feel heavier. It's it's what they do. They're like dogs that can sniff it out. And they'll try to hang around and see what's going on, and it's never a good thing for them. That's why I don't work hospital work anymore, because you walk down a hallway in a hospital and they're there. They're always there waiting. They're waiting for someone to cross. They're waiting to be able to take the soul if they can. But you'll have a lot of paranormal activity. And if there are ones present or they're like on the outside looking in, so to speak, the white sage will just ramp up the activity.
Uh-oh.
It just increases it. Yeah, it's like, okay, so they know I'm here and they're trying to get rid of me, so it pisses them off.
I believe it. So when you say they'll take the soul, do you mean the good ones take your soul to heaven, or there's something creepy that they try to do with the soul?
Well, the negative ones will try to, take the soul. They'll acquire it. They'll try to acquire it. But if you have enough of the good ones there, they don't stand a chance. And it sounds like she's got, from what I can see, she's got quite a few of them waiting for her. So it's not a big deal. Yeah, the negative doesn't stand a chance.
That's good. I had a situation where sometimes I'll let the sun, like I'll close my eyes and let the white light fill me. And then I've had weird things happen. Like once I was in a gym a few weeks back or a month or so, and I let the white light fill me, and I looked around the gym and everyone had like a weird kind of energy heart over their bodies, everyone in the room. And it was like a weird spiritual experience. But one time here, I let it come down from the skylight and fill me up the light, and I looked around the house and I saw, and I've never seen a gray alien ever. I've seen some weird stuff, some UFO stuff, but I've never seen a gray alien. It was like an astral weird gray alien standing in her room. My fiance also saw one standing over the bed, and they looked like skinny, like you would the typical weird little grays. And I've never seen that except them, but it was almost like how you see the energy when you look at the sun or a camera flash, but it was shaped like one of those things.
Yeah, if it's long and slender, it's about 9 times out of 10 it's a watcher.
A watcher?
Yeah, the watchers are neither bad nor good 99% of the time. They're just observers. They're there to observe. They're there to see what's going on. And if the watcher leans more towards the good, then they will they will let the angels know if there's a problem. Like if there's a demon close by and the person's dying, actively dying, then they will actually notify the angels, like, hey, there's something going on here. You need to do something about it. They won't interfere. They won't interact. It's that just what the name entails. They're watchers.
Wow, that is definitely interesting for sure. So when it comes to the negative ones, what can you do? How do you get rid of them, or can you?
Prayer is a really big, a weapon against the negatives. Prayer and invoking the name of whatever deity you believe in, whether it's God, Jesus, Jehovah, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's all about your faith and your belief in that deity. That's when I died in a motorcycle accident in 1988. One of the things that I brought back with me was the fact that on the other side, thought becomes reality. And it's the intention behind the thought that gives it power. And, whether it's in the dark realm or the light realm, you could say, like, okay, here's Coyote and Roadrunner, the Coyote pulls out a Acme, hammer and bangs him over the head with it. It's that kind of thing. It's like if you put enough belief in it and enough thought into it, it can happen. It can get rid of them. I mean, you won't be able to kill them. You won't be able to move them out forever, but it will ward them off. Um, holy water over with the sign of the cross over every window and every door, and ask for God's blessing and ask that nothing negative be allowed to enter.
Okay.
And you could use blessed anointing oil for the same thing. It'll do the same thing. I make a black salt. It's very unique. When I started doing removals, God said to me, listen, I'm going to give you a recipe for black salt, something that will protect those that you're there to help while things are going on. I'd never even heard of black salt before. But God said, this is a recipe. This is how you make it. And I will bless it at each step of the making of it. And that was like 40 some years ago. So 46 years ago. So it's never failed to protect. But some people wear it in a cremation necklace around their neck. I have a sister group I created in the UK, and they wear it when they know that they're going on a location that has negative entities. And they say that it heats up so hot, it's almost too hot to wear when in the presence of a negative entity. But it heats up because it's protecting.
And this neighborhood is a 55-year-old older community. I'm 46, but Christina's a nurse, so that's why she's allowed here, and she inherits the house later. But there's also an elderly home across the street, so there's just a lot, too much, I think.
Well, you have
Sure.
a lot of transitions. A lot of people coming and going, a lot of souls coming and going. Sometimes they may hang around and then they become earthbound because maybe they're waiting for their loved one. They crossed first and they're waiting for their loved one. It's all about, the transition. Most people are afraid of dying. And there's that fear that draws the negatives as well.
There's definitely, I know there's been people that have passed away in the neighborhood. Someone had a sudden heart attack and passed away. And then when we went to church, it's like I felt really good, but when we got home, it just felt like it upset something. And
Yeah.
it was just different, we're going to keep going back, but in church and stuff upset them apparently. I mean, it seems like
Yeah, it will upset a negative. It will upset negatives. What you've got, from what I can see, once I see you, I connect with what's there. What I see is there is what I call the creepy crawly dudes. They're the little creepy things that can make you see them as, like spiders or bugs or
wow.
whatever. I mean, weird stick people. They can make you see them as whatever they want you to see them as. Whatever will elicit the most fear or anxiety
Like a
within the person.
spider. I think we've had something like a seeing something kind of spider-like or something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
They're just they look like me. I don't like spiders. They're not my favorites. And so they try to show themselves as that. But see, I see them in their true form, so they can't do that to me. With most people, they'll look into their mind and they'll find the image that you have of what a demon should look like, and they'll amplify that 100-fold. Or if you're afraid of spiders, or if you're afraid of cockroaches, they'll make themselves look like that just to elicit
Wow.
fear.
And we've had different people, me, myself included, have suicidal thoughts, and I would never
Hmm.
act on them, but it was like something was trying to place it there. I'm
Yeah,
too afraid to ever do that because I don't want to come back if I don't have to. Ain't no way I'm
yeah,
doing that. But
yeah.
there's like something's here that wants you to do it.
Yeah, they do. They try to manipulate your mind to see if you're easily influenced or not. And, one of the things, if there is a demonic attachment or a demonic that's taken residence, is, your life will go in the toilet. I mean, your health goes downhill, your mental and emotional health goes downhill, your finances go downhill. They try to isolate you, get you away from any support system that you have.
That's my health's been doing stuff. Hers is. I've had blood
Yeah.
pressure stuff since going to church, and it was fine before that. And then after church, it's like next thing you know, I'm having to get the blood pressure cuff, and there's been more fights and stuff, even from
Uh-huh.
different people here.
If there's no discord, they will create it. They love chaos. They love to cause problems. They love to the fights. All this negative stuff just feeds them.
Wow, you're giving me the chills, the goosebumps. This usually lets me know we're on to something for sure. Well, one of the big things that just to briefly tell my side of the story, Sarah, do not start whining, bulldog. Do not. But American bulldogs. But sometimes she whines. It's like, oh,
Oh
drives you
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. I have an old Springer that's going on 15, and I have a couple of pit bull sisters that are going on 3.
Yeah, they're definitely. Since Jack left, I've definitely it's been kind of dark. He was a light onto my life, and he's definitely, when he passed, it's a lot to get used to. But luckily, she had dogs, and they've been, helping you. They'll lay down when I lay down in the bed and stuff, and they know that I feel sad, so they kind of spoon me and
Oh
stuff.
yeah,
These big,
yeah,
big bulldogs.
yep. They're big
but
babies.
Yes. And well, just to tell you a little background about me, and I know Christina's seen paranormal stuff all her life, so we kind of have that connection where we've had weird stuff happen to us all our life. But mine, when I was 17, testicular cancer, I went through chemo, and I'm fine now. But at 17, my dad died a year or so later, and it was just a lot. And I started reading a lot of spiritual stuff and having a lot of weird experiences from seeing beings of light with my physical eyes,
Uh-huh.
and I haven't seen those in a while, but a lot to where I've seen them at such a level I thought I was dying and like you were seeing into the other realm and I was going to croak or something. I never did. But a lot of UFO stuff, I've had that follow me from house to house. I don't think I've been abducted. If so, I don't remember a thing, but I have seen some strange beings and weird stuff over the house. I've had friends see it and say, Jeff, they're here because of you. And I'm like, if there were times where I was afraid to leave my house, I would see them so much that they were going to like suck me in the sky. So that's why I kind of do the show to learn more about that stuff. And this is
Yeah,
year
one
13.
thing. Yeah, one thing about them is the aliens, UFOs. Um, they look for people with telepathic abilities. That's primary for them. They connect that way. And I remember when I was like 9 months pregnant, I was laying on the couch. We had a big picture window. It was summertime, and the sky was just really clear, and there were stars everywhere. And then I saw this lighted object go by, and then it stopped, and I could hear what they were thinking, and I shut myself down because I don't want any part of that. And then suddenly it just shot straight up, and they were gone. It's like, no, 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 those ones I don't want any part of.
Yeah, and there was one time I saw some small hooded beings around a black box in the woods with a friend, and we both saw them. So that I've seen those, but I don't know if they were grays, but they looked weird little cloaked beings. They were definitely creepy, whatever they were. But the big thing I've seen all the time is the light beings. And is that something that you have you? that you've seen, or do you know people that have seen it with their physical eyes? It's
Oh
kind of,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I've been trying to
It's
figure it out.
they're angelic beings. They're not bad. They're angelic beings. There's a lot right now. There's a lot of warrior angels in the world. They're walking among humans in the physical world, trying to stop the darkness. It's really there are over 30,000 of them in the world right now doing God's work, and there are another 75,000 of them born into the physical bodies to help spread the word and bring light. So it's like, people think, well, what's God doing? Why isn't he helping? He is. You just are not aware of it.
Yeah.
It's all about, your faith, and you have to trust your faith. There may not be a lot to have faith in some days, but really you have to have that faith in whatever, deity or that you believe in. I'm Christian based because my grandmother was Pentecostal, so she raised me for the first 5 years. But I've seen so many different things in all the years all the years that I've been doing this, that there's nothing that surprises me anymore.
Well, one thing I've noticed is I was Christian raised as well, and I really enjoyed those conversations with God books a lot. Those helped me a lot. I've had him on the show. I'm surprised he came on the show. Neil Donald Walsh. Those helped me a lot. But I mean, my dad was a preacher as well, so and I guess the big thing is when I saw those beings of light, I was like, well, that's kind of validation. They probably have a boss that could be Jesus or whoever, or seeing glowing dudes, leaving my
Yeah,
house. So I mean,
yeah. The warrior angels are there. They are usually attracted to people of faith and attracted to people who are experiencing either hard times, life threatening, going through extreme things. They will show up to help. They will show up to support. Or people that have negative entities, they will show up.
so I've always wondered if they were angels, aliens, or us without their bodies. Are we that as well, or are we different without when we're our soul or whatever?
Well, like the soul is a form. It's a form of pure energy. It's an energy unlike any other. And when I died in my motorcycle accident, I've always been able to see uh, demons in their true form. I've always been able to understand them. And I just thought, it's just the way it is. And so when I died in my motorcycle accident, Michael says, this is who you are. He says, you're experiencing this now because you need to understand who and what you are. This is like, 40 years ago. He says, you are Ariel the Archangel. He says, you were sent back to relive human lives until you learn to have compassion for mankind. And he says, why do you think that you can understand demons? Why do you think you can interpret what they're saying? And why do you think you can see them in their pure form, in their true form? And I'm like, well, that makes sense. And then he says, you have to go back because you're going to start doing God's work in this lifetime now. So you're going to start, doing what you do up here, what Ariel does up here. She's a demon slayer. And that's what it's all about. So when I came back, I didn't even know who she was. I didn't know. I'd never heard of her. And I looked it up on the web, and all you could find out about her was her name means Lion of God, and that she was one of the 5 that guard the throne of God. But she's so much more. She's an assassin. She's a demon slayer. She has attitude.
That's Ariel. Ariel.
Yeah, Ariel. It's Auriel. The thing is, when I do a removal, and she comes forward, and people say that there are wings that come out of my shoulders, and my eyes turn white, and my face looks like it's about 20 years old, and my voice changes. See, I've been doing this for years before somebody. I've always wondered why people looked at me weird, I didn't think anything of it. But a friend of mine said, you do realize this is what happens when you do that, right? I'm like, no, I'm a little busy at the moment. I just said I don't have time and I don't have a mirror. Thank you very much.
It's kind of like they're a part of you. They merge with you.
Yeah, she is my soul, so we're not really quote unquote separate. We're like as one. I hear her thoughts. I hear what she hears. I see what she sees, and I know what she knows. So that really helps. It's like all I have to have is a picture or a location, and I know what's there. I know how it got there. I know why it's there, and what I need to do to remove it. It's just it's with me. It's natural. I've been doing it for so long and seeing them for so long that they don't scare me anymore. When I was about 4 or 5, was when I actually it changed and I could see them as they truly were. Before that, I just saw them like most humans with blobs of black mist or black, undulating. But after that, it changed, and I was afraid at first. And Michael says, "You don't have to be afraid. You're seeing them as we see them." He says, "You're going to have to get used to it. They can't hurt you. I won't let them hurt you." He said, "So you'll be fine. You'll know when you're older what you need to do." So I was only 5 at the time. So I'm like, okay, so that's the way it is. He says, "I want you to watch them. I want you to study them. I want you to see how they work." He says, "It's very important. So when you get older, you'll know what to do." And I'm like, okay. So my first real interaction with a demon from a one-on-one point of view was when I was in the military. And I was called in. They called the ER and said, there's a gentleman, we're missing a person. We haven't seen him for 2 days. That's not like him. We need you to come over because we're going to go into his room because they're expecting to find a dead body. So we get in that room, and here's this demon sitting over in the corner waiting for this guy to die. He's like curled up in a ball, and he's barely breathing. And so I just kind of ignored it. We went in there, we got the guy out, we got him back to the base, ER, and I went in to start an IV on him, and the demon was leaning over him, trying to take the life force from him. And at that time, I didn't realize what was inside of me. So it's like, all I know is I said, he's not yours, he's mine. Whatever it was he saw in my face, or I'm sure Ariel was coming forward at that time, it left. It never returned. I checked on the guy. He spent a week or so in the hospital. Somebody had put PCP in his soda. He's a chaplain's assistant. He would never hurt anybody. He would walk around a fly rather than hurt it.
Wow,
And he said, "I had the strangest dream." He said, "I had a dream that there was a demon that was trying to take my soul. And an angel came and defeated the demon." And I'm like, well, that's just God telling you it's going to be okay. Don't worry about it. It's fine. And he was discharged because he was never the same again. He was sent home.
And I know. That's not me, but it's okay. It's someone's background. But
It was a motorcycle going by my house.
Okay. And I know Christina was out with her bulldogs once, and one of them, there's a kind of like a bridge at the VA center, the veterans place,
Yeah.
and it fell off the bridge. And at that point, she had seen kind of like a winged shadow being in the trees, and the dog was scared to death. I had to go down there and get the dog out. It wouldn't come out, and there was some brush down there and stuff. But is there like a parallel flip side to where they're kind of like that, maybe winged and shadow, like a shadow beings, right?
Shadow people are a little bit different. They never travel in packs. Demons always travel in packs. Demons, if you see them as I saw them, as I can see them, they're about 7 feet tall. They have 12-foot wingspan. And that's where the likeness to archangels ends. They're dark, they're black, kind of an ebony black. And their face, what little features they have on their face, all you can really see are the eyes. And in those eyes, you see all the evil, all the pain, all the suffering in the world. and it'll give you nightmares forever and ever. You do not want to see that. But that's where the similarities stop at the height and the breadth of the wingspan, and where angels are like Michael here. He's brilliant. To look at an angel it's almost hurt your eyes. It's so bright. But I grew up with him. I'm used to him. I'm used to all of them. And so I see angels like people see people. It's just part of my everyday life, like I see demons.
I've called on Archangel Michael a lot, probably so much he's like, "Will you quit calling me?" like, like to clear and stuff like that, for sure.
Well,
And who
people
knows?
always wonder, how can, you know, he be in a thousand places at the same time? It's because when you're on the other side, there is no distance. There is no time. So he can literally hear everyone who needs help, everyone who calls on him, he hears. And when I was over there, I noticed that I could hear every living soul that there was, but they were kind of like in the background, like a murmur in the background. And what was in the foreground were my grandparents, Michael, and then God. I could feel him. I could see him. And it was okay. I knew it wasn't my time, but it's almost like having those old-fashioned party lines. You can hear people talking and you're like, yeah, you're listening, you're quiet. But it was nothing, I mean, it's like you feel like you're a part of it all. It's just a very comforting feeling, and you know that things are going to be okay, and you're not afraid to die again. So it's not a big deal. Been
And
there,
I
done that.
wonder if maybe God, I'm sure, showed me these things to help alleviate some of that fear. Even though I still have it, it's probably not as bad as it would be about croaking. But I mean, that's got to be one of it, is just to help,
Yeah,
bring comfort, to show you.
yeah, that's what they're all about. The angels are all about bringing comfort and letting you know that they're there, that they haven't forsaken you, and that they're there. People always, God and I had a conversation one day about this, and he's like, why do people always blame me for everything? Said people always say, why are you mad at me? Why are you punishing me? Why are you doing this? He's like, I don't have to do anything. He says, you guys are pretty good at screwing up your own lives. He says, I don't have to do anything.
Yeah,
He says,
for
you
sure.
do it all.
Yeah, definitely. Those conversations with God books help me a lot. He talks about stuff like that. Like the first thing God said to him was, "You got me all wrong," and just some good stuff in there, for
Uh-huh.
sure.
Yeah,
And
it's kind of like Lucifer. People don't understand about him either. It's like, people think that demons are all bad and they're never going to change and all this, but they're not all bad. There is this little spark of light that still belongs within them, that's a remnant of when they lived in the light.
yes,
There is a hierarchy. Lucifer respects the archangels, and he respects God and Jesus. He's like, a friend of mine is also has an archangel inside of him named Hanel. And Hanel and Lucifer used to be great friends before the war. And so there's, he still considers, Lucifer still considers him a friend. So he goes and visits him from time to time. And my friend Andy lives in Scotland. And I said, next time Elle comes to visit you, he calls him Elle. Next time Elle comes to visit you, I said, you ask him what he thinks about Ariel. And so and Lucifer came to visit a little while later, and he asked him, and I said, what was his answer? He said, respect the assassin.
so would Lucifer still be considered Satan? Right, same thing. I know there's
Yeah,
different kind of
there's two different
discussions about
names.
that.
Yeah, Lucifer is the light name. Satan is the dark name. Each have a different name, a light one and a dark one.
There was one experience I had where I may have seen fallen angels. I was doing psychedelics in my younger years, and it was at a lake, and I saw some beings that were very reptilian, and they were like holograms, but they were weird. The closest thing I've ever seen to them were like Mayan gods. Have these oracle cards, and there's like glyph cuttings of them,
Uh-huh.
and I
Yeah.
swear that's what it reminded me of. But I saw them, and it was weird because they were like saying "I love you" and read and write and dance, and I was like, "What?" Because I was freaking out thinking it was the devil, and I still don't know exactly what they were. But this dude that was driving us that night went a little nuts and tried to drown us in a lake with his
Oh,
truck. So,
jeez.
so that was in my wilder days. But I think I may have seen fallen ones. I know Timothy Wiley, this guy I've interviewed, he's passed. He was on that Hamilton's Pharmacopoeia, that show,
Uh-huh.
but he's passed now. I know he wrote for Inner Traditions, but he wrote some books about supposedly fallen angels who God forgave, and now they were helping humanity. And he didn't say all of them, but that was kind of some
No,
of the
no.
subject
There
matter he
there are
breathed.
there are a handful of them. One of them, every now and then, a demon will something will spark the light in a demon, and most of the time they squish it down because they don't want anything to do with it anymore. But every now and then you'll get one who will let the light grow. And a couple years ago, I was doing a removal and from a distance, and this one demon came to me afterwards. I didn't kill him; I just sent him away. And he came to me afterwards, and he was kind of gray color. And I'm like, "What's up?" And he's like, "I let the light grow." He said, "I need Ariel's help." And I'm like, "Why do you want her help?" He says, "I want to be a go between the living and the dark." He said, "I want to help people when I can." I call him Herb. I won't say his real name, but I call him Herb. He's a nice guy. But, but so I went to Lucifer, Ariel went to Lucifer and said, "Hey, are you up for this?" He said, "I'll talk to the old ones, the old demons. And if they agree, then we'll let him be the go between." So, long story short, they agreed. So that's what he's doing now. He checks in with me every now and then. So they don't always shut out the light. It just depends.
Well, that's interesting for sure. What do you know about there was one night or me and Christine were talking about Lilith, that story with Adam and all that stuff that was supposedly cut out of the Bible. But it was really weird because we were outside on the back porch and I said that name, and suddenly one of those owls, I don't know if it was a screech owl or something, went woo, 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 like 3 or 4 times loud. Freaked me out. I mean, is that what do you know much about her? Is she still around, or is
Oh
that
yeah,
debunked?
she's still around. She's not gone. But that's again, she is a demon. So saying her name will bring her to you.
Oh,
So you really want to like avoid that.
yeah, yeah.
I was on uh, a good friend of mine, Clyde Lewis, Round Zero, and he's like a couple years ago. He's like he keeps saying the demon's name over and over again. I'm like, Clyde, I told you, don't be doing that stuff. He's it's fine, it's fine. And he ended up with the attachment. And his wife calls me and says, he's got one. You need to help. And I said, he has to call me and ask. I'm not going to help until he calls me and asks. So a few days later, he's like, you need to help me. I'm like, okay, don't be doing that again then.
Definitely. Same thing with the S word and the W word, which is, I don't like to say them either. The SK Walker and the W word that goes along
Yeah,
with that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's kind of concerning. They have that whole show now with millions of
Oh,
people
yeah.
watching. It's like just
Uh-huh.
asking for it. There's a computer there named Satan. It's like, what are you guys trying to
Yeah,
do?
yeah,
Like,
exactly. Right. It's like,
Stupid.
where's your mind? What
yeah.
do you think you're doing?
People are getting radiation burns and going to the emergency room and cranium damage there. I mean, that
I
show's
know. It's
crazy.
like,
It is crazy. I'm familiar with
yeah,
the book and all that too, the book and the documentaries and all that. It's a weird place, but I try to be careful and not say those particular words for sure.
yeah.
But I'll try to be more careful with the L word for
Well,
sure.
it's the thing. the L word's not a problem. It's the dark name, Satan. That's the issue. And it's so many people say it so often. It's like when they're swearing, they say Jesus Christ or whatever. It's like people just say it, and it's like you have no idea of what you can stir up with that. I get people that'll call me and want help because they've summoned a demon, and now they're stuck with it and don't know what to do. It's like you don't. If people think they've got it made, they think they can control the demon. They'll summon the demon. They'll think, oh, it's going to do my bidding. Blah blah blah. Right? It will do your bidding for a moment or two until it lulls you into a false sense of security, and then it'll turn on you because they don't do man's bidding. We're nothing to them.
I've made the mistake of trying to get mad at them and, tell them to come, fight and all this stuff, which was stupid. I did that a few weeks ago. And they got worse. So I'm trying not to do that anymore. Saying that, like Al Pacino, come on, come on.
Bring it on.
Yeah. Don't need to do that anymore.
No. That's just asking for trouble. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you think we're is the end days here? Is it going down like a big final to do? I know the UFO subject is crazy on the news right now. And I've been into that subject forever with military people on Stanton Friedman, Jim Mars. They've all passed. But I've interviewed legends on that subject. But now you have like Fox News host, UFOs, oh my God. It's funny. But there's definitely stuff with that going on. But do you think it's the end of days?
No. I was writing my first book called A Medium's Guide to the Paranormal. And I was sick that day, and my husband and son went to the store to get me some juice, and God said, I want you to write a book. I want you to put this information into the book. And I'm like, what information? And then he says, get a tablet and a pen. So he started dictating through me. I just started automatic writing. And these 10 prophecies came out. And I said, well, these are pretty basic things. I said, you need to expand on them more. I said, people don't understand, why this is going to happen. One of the things was there'll be another planet discovered in our solar system. And of course, that's already happened. I wrote this book in 2009. And actually 2008, it came out in 2009. And one of the prophecies that he gave was that in 150 years, there was going to be the ring of fire would explode. The ones that's under the ocean, the volcanoes.
Yes.
He said, and man was going to go back to a more simple way of life, like the barter system and things like that. So there would still be some technology, but it'd be a case of us regressing because of the devastation. So it's like, okay, writing all this down, I'm like, you got to expand on this stuff. People are going to say, what? So it's in the book. There's, it's like, I'm not a prophet, but, when God says, this is what I want you to put in a book, and you do automatic writing and it comes right through to you, and you're like, page after page just keeps going. It's like, oh, okay. I'll put it in the book, whatever you want.
I'll have to check it out for sure. This sounds interesting. And if you think of anything after the show that might help us here, please let me know. I know me and Christina, when we first met, we have pictures and we look vibrant and healthy and glowing. And now, if you look at our pictures, not all of them, but we look like we've aged like 15 years. And the dog here, one of the dogs even look older. It's like, what the hell is happening?
I just have to do removal and put a what they call an infinity orb, which is a protective orb around the home and everyone who resides within it. I've done that before. It really works well for people.
please do if you can. If you need to
Yep,
ask me
no
anything,
problem.
feel free. Definitely. It's just been the glass thing, I guess, also caused a lot of fear with me. I've seen weird stuff all my life, but I've never seen a glass explode like that. And I've gotten paranoid about energy weapons or, a demon, whatever. I don't know what did it, but it was the
Well,
weirdest thing,
yeah,
ghost like, that I've ever seen
demons and
explode.
angels use white light, so and the demons use black swords because it's made of pure dark energy, and the Ariel, she uses white light sword, which is made out of white light energy. It's a pure form. And when she kills a demon, she just slices through it, and the molecules spread up into the heavens.
It's
They no
strange
longer
because
exist.
there were some times I prayed and I saw these like kind of they almost look Norse or something because I like that kind of
Mhm.
stuff too. And it was like I saw them in my imagination's mind's eye, killing them and them splattering. And I was
Yep.
like, what the hell? This is too many comic books. But it's like
No,
maybe there was
no.
something to it. Maybe
It,
something came in here and cleaned
it
a little bit.
happens. That's what Ariel, like, people like, I don't see it. But to me, because she's real and she exists on the plane of existence of the that they live in, the white light and the dark. She moves among them and she can kill them. See, that's why I wrote The Dark Side of the Paranormal. People were asking me to write it for years, and I finally broke down and wrote it because people think that demons are all powerful, but they're not. They have fears, they have weaknesses, they have, code of ethics, believe it or not. They have a hierarchy. It's the book tells you about what will protect you, what won't protect you, and it's just I have sold so many copies of those, and people write me all the time and say, "This really saved my life. This really made me know what was going on, and what to do, and how to help myself." My new book, which is coming out the end of this month, hopefully I'll have finished the editing, is called Demon Seer: The Awakening, because it talks about how the demons are utilizing humans in the physical world and what's going on and all the stuff behind the scenes. And there's a really good chapter on, where to find help. Um, the Archbishop of the Order of St. Michael of the Exorcist has given me his information to put in there. Keith Johnson, the Johnson brothers, they've given me their information. And I've got some other people in there with their contact information and where to find them for help.
I'm going to have to check those out. I'll have to get your older book. Is that on Amazon?
Yeah, everything's on
Okay.
Amazon. Yeah.
I'll check that out for sure. I've had a lot of people on about shamanism and stuff. Shamanism, I always say. I'm from Georgia, so we mess up everything with the words. But a lot of people from medicine tribes and stuff. I love all that stuff, especially when they start talking about Bigfoot, UFOs, and all that. Well, one thing I need to do is balance it out and let Jay ask a few questions in there because time's ticking. So if we can, let Jay ask a few questions.
Yeah, I got a couple. So first of all, you brought up the black salt, and I had before the show I'd put some questions together, and I don't know how much you've seen of or know about the show Supernatural. It seems to
Oh,
be
yeah.
fairly well researched. I don't know. My experience with demon lore is from the game Dungeons and Dragons, so I know absolutely
Uh-oh.
nothing about them for real. But it seems like they have these different rituals that they're constantly using salt. Like they're putting salt in circles around them and making symbols on the ground with salt. So, and you brought up the black salt. So what does that do? And have they got it right, or are they just got lucky?
The salt that they use is probably white salt.
Yeah.
Most people believe that will protect you from demons. It won't. It'll protect you from a negative earthbound person, a human entity, but that's about it. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, black salt is the way I make it is the recipe was given to me by God. What it does is it's blessed at every step of the making of it. The products that I use in it are all natural, and they are soaked in holy water and left to dry in the sun. And what it does is it forms a barrier. Negative entities in humans cannot get through it. It hasn't failed me in 40 some years, and I don't think it ever will. It's you get the salt and you lay it around in a line around your property, or you can carry some on you, put it in your car. And what it does is negative entities don't want to be anywhere near it. If you put it around your home to seal your home, they can't get through. Nothing negative that's inhuman can get through. It's just like a force field. It's like they hit up against it and bounce back. They don't want to be anywhere near it because when I make it, not only does he bless it, but Ariel's energy goes into it, and they don't want to be around her either. Because in the war between heaven and hell, Michael disarmed Lucifer, and Ariel disarmed his son. And so they respect them, but they don't want to have anything to do with them.
So what? Like in the example, you said if you put it around your home, what if there's a demon in there? Was it possible to trap them in, or you got to get rid of them first and then?
Yeah, you'll trap it in there, and you don't want to trap it in it because they go a little crazy.
Yeah.
So what you have to do is you have to remove it first, then seal it. I tell people, if you suspect there's a demon there, do not sage, because the sage will piss it off. That's how you can tell that there really is one there. It'll piss them off, and the activity will just really ramp up. But if you don't have the demon in there, then seal it right away. But, demons can come in because they can be attached to someone, and they can jump from one person to the next if they feel the other person is a better victim than the original one.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they attach just simply because you're in the wrong place at the right time. It doesn't have to be. People think only bad people, get attachments, but that's not true. I mean, if they're bad already, there's nothing to gain. There's nothing for the demon to gain.
Mm-hmm.
It would rather go after somebody who has a lot of faith, somebody who's a follower of God, because if he turns them against God, well, that's a feather in their hat.
And did they ever attach to an object, or is it always
They do.
a person?
They do, but
Yeah.
But usually it's against their will.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the Dybbuk box or the doll. These demons, these are old demons. Were old demons. I've removed them, but they were old demons. But someone bound them to the object, because a demon wouldn't stick around with binding itself to something that's like they can't have any fun with. They want to be out off and about doing things. But I ended up doing Ghost Adventures, and after that, a couple years later, I went to the museum because the demons were creating a portal to open to let old demons in, and they had been manipulating. They had been manipulating the host of the show to bring all these objects together. What better way to open a portal when you have all these negatives in the same spot? So it's like I didn't even have to go in. I just went out, stood outside, and removed them all. And then I went in afterwards to make sure everything was gone.
So you mentioned remove, and in your bio on the Church of Mabus radio show website, it says your specialty is negative removals. So what is there steps? What do you do to defeat a demon? Do you have to know its real name, its identity, or does like a ritual? What is it that you have to go through?
There's no ritual per se. When I'm in the location, I know where the demon is. I go to the demon, and basically, if it's one like a lesser demon that's not a big problem, I will create what they call an infinity orb. And it's an orb that you can, it reminds me of Pokemon, you throw the ball and it traps the creature. Well, that's what it does. It encases the creature. And then Ariel lets it go down into the darkness. And the moment it hits the darkness, it bursts and dumps them in there. But, if it's a problem, if it's an old demon that's causing a problem, she actually does battle with it and kills it. She doesn't mess with them. She'd rather kill him as look at him anyway, so she doesn't mind.
And now these infinity orbs, is this a physical thing? Like, can you go to like a magic or tarot shop and
No,
get them?
no, this is created out of pure white light energy. And because her soul is separate from me, it'd be like two people standing here side by side, and she can create it out of white light. And it's, remember, thought becomes reality in their worlds. So
Mhm.
this traps them and puts them down. But she'd rather kill them anyway. So
That sounds like it's a better plan anyway, from what I've heard
yeah,
you try to do.
yeah.
So, but do they all have like a secret name? I mean,
Oh yeah,
it's like, in the movie Dune, Paul defeats that one Fremen, and they say your name is Usul, that's your secret name,
right,
but you
right.
take your own name that we'll call you openly. Or do they
Yeah.
have a secret name that only they know, and then there's an open name that everybody knows?
There's the white light name that they used to have. People don't understand that the war was people. How many? I don't care how many people I've come across. They don't have any idea what started the war, why there's a war, or
Hmm.
anything else. And one guy was telling me, I raised Catholic. They don't know why the war happened. They don't know what happened during the war or anything else. And I told him it's quite simple. I said we all had physical bodies hundreds of thousands of years ago on a different planet. I said the entity that we call God found us and helped us evolve. And we got rid of war and famine and hunger and disease. And it was all about the pursuit of knowledge. So as time went by, we evolved into pure energy. And once we did, we traveled as a group among, the galaxies, the solar systems, and we saw everything there was to see. We, visited every planet. We observed every life form. And then one day there became, people said, the soul said, listen, I'd like to have a physical body again. I'd love to have children. I want to, grow old with someone, that sort of thing. And the followers of Lucifer said, "Nuh-uh, no way. We don't want anything to do with it. Absolutely not. We don't want to be subject to growing old, disease, pain, none of that. We don't want it." So that's what started the war. God said, I'm not telling you have to do it. I said, these souls want to do it. And Lucifer's like, no, 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 you'll make us do it. He was just looking for an excuse. And God knew that it would only a matter of time before Lucifer tried something. So he created a group called the Legion of Light, and they were comprised of Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, and Ariel. And they in turn trained all the elite warrior angels and so on. But once this disagreement happened, the war would have been like 1,000 years if you were a human. But for them, it was maybe an hour.
Hmm.
And in the end, Lucifer was disarmed by Michael, and his son, I won't say his name, was disarmed by Ariel. And God says, I'm going to give you exactly what you want. You're never going to be able to take on physical form. He said, but you can't live among us. And he opened up a rift into a dark realm. And he says, this is where you're going to live. You can't live among us. And so over the centuries, they've grown angry and resentful, and they're seeking revenge. And that's why they make it a career choice to, hurt humans, because we all have white light souls in us. What better way to torment them? Because you did us wrong. You put us in here. You put us in the dark. So we're going to get back at you.
That's interesting. I'm glad you said that. My theory, and I'm probably wrong, but my theory is based on the Norse mythos, where they talk about the realm of hell, which is Thor's sister. She protects all those souls that haven't died in glorious battle, and her realm is Midgard, which is Earth.
Yeah.
And so is the war between heaven and hell? Is hell Earth? Is that this what they're battling over? Is this planet, or is hell like the dark realm you're talking about?
No, hell is the dark realm. The dark realm is where all the negative entities live. It's where they exist. Over the years, they've been able to create dark portals to come into the physical world and start problems and make man's life living hell. It's not that we're not good at screwing up our own lives, but they give us a little extra oomph there. But it totally, when I went to the other side, when I died, and I said, well, heaven exists, okay, but what about hell? And Michael took a few steps and waved his arm, and this pit opened up, and people were screaming. It was like people screaming, reaching up, trying to get out. And then he waved his arm, and I went back. I said, okay, I get it. Hell exists too. Okay, fine. But it's just, some people think that living on Earth is hell, but they haven't a clue, because Ariel, I have her memories of being down there and taking on negative entities, and it's not a good thing. So they have no clue as to what it's really like down there, and they don't want to know.
So do we have it wrong? Because I've heard the war talked about as the war between heaven and hell, and I've also heard the war, maybe it's a different one, but the war between heaven and earth. Is there two different aspects of it?
Not really. It's not the way it sounds. It's like there is a war for Earth. There's a war for
possession of it.
For the souls that are here, and it's God's intention to protect the souls that are here, and it's Lucifer's intention to do as much damage as he can, and to take as many souls as he can. So it just depends on how you look at it.
And so you talked about Ariel destroying or killing the demons. Do you know how many there are? And when she kills them, are they gone, or are they like just disbanded for so many centuries before they recoalesce?
No, one of the fears of a demon is death, because if a demon dies, that's it. Its consciousness, everything is gone. Everything it was is gone. But if they just get sent back down into the dark, it's not a big deal. It's like slapping them on the wrist. They'll probably be back in a week or so, whatever. But to kill them is what she prefers, because she doesn't consider that they're worth anything anyway, and they'll only cause more problems, and they'll only come back. So she would rather just off them and get it over with. But she's not always allowed to do that. It depends upon the case. She's been given more discretion, because the Legion of Light, she's still a member of the Legion of Light, and so they're given discretion whether to kill or not the demons. If they've done something, if they've done an offense, like the three that were attached to, there was one attached to Rommel, one to Goering, and one to Hitler. So God gave Ariel, Michael, and Gabriel the job to go in and remove the demons. But you had to do it all at once. And, as you know, Hitler never kept all of his people in one place at the same time, to avoid, everybody being destroyed. But there was one time when they all met together, and that's all it took. And all three archangels went in and pulled them out. Well, the demons were destroyed. They were brought before God, and God said, you know what? Look what you've done. Look what you've created. Genocide. So they were all killed. He gave Ariel the job to kill them, to execute them. But it's cases like that where there is no redemption.
It seems to me that there's a huge balance of the people have thought of it for years: the light and good and evil, black and white, whatever you want to call it. So, is it a bad thing if it sounds like Ariel wants to kill them all. If all the demons are destroyed, is there a bad?
There's a downside to it, and because you need that balance between good and bad. But there are so many. She's not going to run out of demons anytime soon. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and she doesn't kill them all. It's the ones that are causing the most problem, the most suffering to the humans, the most, like, say somebody, like, okay, I was called in on a case where this there were demons there. The demon had they had children in the house. They had pets. One of the pets' head, it was a rat, it was a pet rat, was pulled through a half an inch cage bar.
Hmm.
Yeah, you can't do that. But it pulled it through, the demon pulled it through that, and of course it died. And then the next victim was they had a pet bird. The demon twisted the head off. And then it was working on the therapy dog when I was called in. And, she loves animals. She hates demons that hurt animals. So she just offed them all. Whatever was there, she just took them out. She had no second thoughts. Just I knew where it was. I knew what happened. I went where the demon was, and she just killed them all.
So there was more than one.
There was 3.
Ooh. So do they typically work in threes?
Yeah, they travel in packs. Yeah, they're like dogs. They travel in packs, and it's like, and when you have one demon, you always have it's like a shark with pilot fish.
Yeah.
The little creepy crawly dudes are the pilot fish.
Mm-hmm.
The demon is the shark.
And is it always an odd number?
No, not necessarily. Sometimes I went in on a case where there were 8.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was fun.
Well, in religion, there's a lot of numerology in religion, and a lot of people assign good things to even numbers and bad things to odd numbers. So it's weird that we're getting inside information that there's 8 demons that can work together as a group.
Sure, they can. It depends upon what they're coming together to do.
Mm-hmm.
If it's for the quote unquote greater good, as they see it,
as they see it,
then that's fine. I went into some guy called me in a local house where the house had been used for a drug house, and he had bought it and was flipping it. And he's like, I couldn't go in there for more than a few minutes at a time. He said, things started growling at me. Things started being thrown. I was scratched. I was bit. He's like, can you do anything to help? And I'm like, yeah. I said, just give me the address. And he says, I'm not going back in there. He said, I'll leave the key under the garbage can and put it there when you leave. And he says, I'm leaving you some money too. So I'm like, okay, fine. I don't charge, but okay. So it took me and there was 5 of them. It took me about half an hour. Usually it doesn't take me that long, but there were 5 of them. They were trying to hide, trying to get out of Dodge.
Now, how does a demon hide?
They can cloak themselves.
So if you're a demon seeing visions, they can hide from your eyes.
Not from me, but if they can hide from humans, they can hide from regular angels.
Oh, okay.
But they can't hide from archangels, because archangels in turn can cloak themselves. So I see beyond that, so I can see them. And they think I don't see them. It's like, whatever you say. If you want to pretend that you don't say, like soap, you can't see me. I'm invisible.
Yeah, so like the kid in the movie with Adam Sandler, he gives him the sunglasses so he turns invisible so people can't see him. It's
yeah, that sort of thing.
Confidence booster.
Yeah, there you
go. So you mentioned earlier how you got into the writing of the book, that God told you to go ahead and do that, and that you never wanted to, but you're now up to 9 books altogether?
Yeah. Well, the first one, God came to me and says, I want you to write a book. And he says, I want you to let people know that I do hear them. I do hear their prayers. But I give them what they need, which is not necessarily what they want.
Yeah.
He says, I don't care what you put in the book. He said, but that has to come across. And I'm like, okay. But, when I write, it just takes on a life of its own.
Mm-hmm.
It just keeps going because all this information comes in, not only from the other side, but from Ariel as well. So all of this information comes, and I'll be sitting there, and like a couple hours have passed, and I don't even realize it's been a couple hours. I've been writing. Just the things the book will finish when it's finished.
Mm-hmm.
When I have nothing more to say, it stops, and I know that that's time to stop the book. move on to the next one. I have actually 4 books I'm working on right now.
Oh wow.
One of them's done. The other one's almost done. It's within, I would say, a couple of chapters of being done. And then the other 2 are half done.
And do you find that you're the first person I've talked to that actually has said that they auto write or channel write? And I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Urantia book, which was allegedly all written through channeling. And the guy who was channeling it, what he said was dictated and written down by a professional secretary, which also I think was his wife.
Uh-huh.
But the prose in it was very Bible-like. I mean, it's a difficult book to read, and it's thick. I mean, it's like, you know, as big as the Bible or even thicker. But it's hard to read, and it's very prosaic, like the Bible was written in the early chapters.
Right.
You find that that's how your channel auto writing is? Is it a way that you wouldn't write normally, or is it?
I don't really channel. I have all the information in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Or I talk to Michael, or I talk to God or Gabriel or whoever. And if you read the first book I wrote, it's called A Medium's Guide to the Paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
It's written like in a conversational way. I don't put a bunch of stuff in it. I write it like I'm sitting down talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what people that reviewed it said, that's what they liked about it, was it was down to earth. And it's like you're sitting down talking to the person.
Yeah.
And that's the way I like to write my books, like I'm sitting here talking to you. You know,
Yeah,
I don't see
read.
using big words. I don't try to put on airs. I just put in what I have to put in there.
And it sounds good because, like I said, the Rancher book is so difficult to read, and it even the Bible is difficult to read. I mean, it's you know, it's got this, you know, in the music, classical music, they have what they call rondos, where a particular musical theme repeats throughout the 4 stanzas, and that's how the first chapters of the Bible are. And it just, to me, I have dyslexia, real bad dyslexia, so reading the Bible is like makes my head spin. I got to put it down, or I'll go crazy.
Yeah, I have an Aramaic Bible. So.
Oh, do you?
yeah. It's my grandmother always told me, you know, you have to pray for interpretation. You know, pray before you read so that you get the information that you need or the meaning that you need from the individual thing. She was a great woman. One of her biggest advice to me was always keep an open mind, because there's more things, like she's like Shakespeare said, there are more things, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
So keep an open mind, because things evolve, she says. Negatives evolve, angels evolve, humans evolve. She says, always keep an open mind.
Yeah, it's hard to in this day and age, though, with all of what's going on crazy in the world and on the news. So it's good philosophy, but wow, there's some crazy, dangerous things happening right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes.
Definitely crazy. Well, one thing I wanted to ask you about was my dog Jack. When he had seizures and stuff and was sickly, and he was 16, so he was old. But I was with him all the time, so that's why I guess there was so much loss. I lived out on Silver Lake here with him for so many years, and we walked, and he was always with me, so it was a big loss. But there was one time in my mind's eye, I saw him in his kennel, and I had to put him in a kennel there at the end, which I hated to do because he would use the restroom everywhere. So I had to put pads and stuff.
Right.
But I saw this like weird little small dwarf kind of creature looking in his cage in my mind's eye, and it reminded me of those little Whitley Strieber weird things from Communion with Christopher Walken. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but for some reason that's what they reminded me of. But I guess I worry about him, that something was messing with him.
No, that was an elemental.
An elemental?
An elemental, yeah.
That's like the little people, like
it's like some people call them, you know, gnomes or fairies or whatever, but that was an elemental.
But they're good, though, right?
Yeah, they're good. Yeah, he was.
That's good.
The elemental was curious. The elemental, you know, felt the sadness and know that he was going to go pretty soon. So they came to offer support.
Well, that's good. I mean, I didn't know what to think of it. They looked in my mind's eye like those things from that Christopher Walken movie. That's Willie Strieber's book. They look just like those little.
No, these are good ones. These are good ones.
That's good. So when a dog passes, and I know Jay's had loss. He's also lost a lot of family. So have I. But when a dog passes, does it automatic? What happens? I mean, where do they go?
Dogs are purer and they're closer to God than we are. They don't have the baggage we have. They don't have our hang-ups. When they cross, they go home. There's never a problem with that. They go home. They're always, unless they're like, there have been instances, and I know in a couple of places in England where you'll see a ghost of a dog, but it's because it's looking for its charges. It's looking for it. They use them as nannies. So they're looking for their master or they're looking for their charges. But 9 times out of 10, they'll go home. They don't have any problem. They'll run home because they know that good things are there. And they'll come back. My 2 pit bulls are the reincarnation of my 2 Dobermans I had. They were sisters, and they even answer to the same names.
I've seen glimpses out of the corner of my eye, which seemed like him. Like you'd see it real quick, like him go by, and weird stuff like that.
Yeah.
And recently, we got this, which is like a pet memorial.
Oh,
I was
that's
going to put
cool.
it on his
Yeah.
grave, but I've just been
Yeah.
kind of keeping it as a portable memorial.
Yeah, they'll come like humans do. When they know you need them. You know, you're sad, you're missing them. They'll come to comfort you. They'll hang around for that, just like people do. Like,
So,
it's okay, I'm here, don't worry about it. You know, I'm good.
well, what can we expect when we croak? Will we see them? We'll meet him again?
Oh yeah, but he'll be back. He's like, I'm coming back. Don't worry about it. You'll find me again. He's another dog.
If he does come back as another dog, does it have to be the same breed, or
No,
could it be a
no.
different?
No, it'll be a different breed. He says that's a different breed. He says, I want to come back as something brown and black. I like those colors. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever you want. So he said he's going to come back in the next 2 years.
All right. Well, I'll keep an eye out for sure.
And the thing is, you'll know him. It's funny, but when they come back, you know them. You look in their eyes, and you know them. Your gut knows that's the one.
Yes, definitely. I will keep an eye out for sure, no doubt about it. Jay's had weird stuff with his cat passing, and getting another one that seemed like it did the same things
Oh,
as the cat.
This one right here. I don't know if you can see her. She's black, so she.
Yeah.
She's
I see those eyes.
Yeah. One passed before, and then he found that one that was doing the same weird mannerisms that the others did. So
it was really strange. I mean, it's a Maine Coon. So when I found her in Georgia. A friend of mine and his girlfriend actually found the kitten in a dumpster behind a McDonald's. So she was like gnawing on a McCheeseburger or whatever. So they couldn't keep her. So they brought her to me, and I hung onto this cat through all of college and then moved back to Maryland. And she got to 20 years old, and just one day she just flopped over and just couldn't move. And the doctor said, well, she's got a mass in her, torso that is probably cancer. We can spend a lot of money, and we can find out that it's, inoperable or operable. I don't know, but it's going to cost you $1,000. So, I had to decide whether or not to kill my best friend.
Yeah.
So I was sitting at the bar at this restaurant that I ate at rather frequently, and one of the waiters that I knew really well said that we've got this black kitten that nobody wants, and I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, nobody will take this cat. We got to get rid of it. We can't have it in our house. We have too many animals. So he's like, do you want it? And I'm like, well, it's weird that you brought that up out of the blue, because I'm right now contemplating having my cat of 20 years put down. So let me think on it overnight and make this decision, and I'll let you know tomorrow. So the next day I made the decision that she was going to go down. And I said, I'll tell you what, I'll take that black kitten if nobody wants it, but you got to give me a week. I don't want to just have my cat die today and then tomorrow, new kitten. So a week goes by, I come back to the restaurant for dinner, and my friend calls his mom. His mom worked there too. So they called the dad who brought the kitten over in his big red pickup truck. And the car pulls up. We're on the back of the restaurant in the back parking lot. And this kitten immediately recognizes me and tries to jump through the glass. I mean, it didn't hurt itself, but it smashed its face in the window. And then I recognized it too. I mean, it looked exactly like her when she was a kitten 20 years ago. Yeah. He opened the window and it jumped into my arms, and it was like immediate recognition. I knew it was the same soul. I just knew it was. It was so uncanny. And I brought her home. I had another cat that had known her. His name was, by the way, Lucifer Sam, after the Pink Floyd song. And and he recognized her immediately. I mean, I
Yep.
could see in his face he recognized this cat,
Yep.
and he's like, "Well, take me to the vet. I want a new body too." And she was like 8 or 9 at the time. But she ran right to where the food was. I didn't have to show her
Yep.
anything. Knew where the litter box was, and had the exact same like
Yep.
weird personality quirks and habits
Yeah,
right off the bat.
if they love you, they come back.
Yeah.
My Springer I have now, she's been back 2 other times before this, so
Wow.
keeps coming back each time.
Well, people don't believe in reincarnation, but that incident that
Yeah,
that
it
solidified it
happens
for me. I mean,
all the
it's
time.
absolutely real.
Happens all the time. People just not aware of it, or people
Mhm.
don't pay attention or don't want to know.
Mhm.
But it happens all the time.
It's a pretty cool thing, and I mean, it helped with the grieving cycle as well. I mean, it was one of the hardest things I ever had to do was my first cat that I actually had to go to the vet and have them euthanize her, and that was not easy at all.
Yeah. But that was their time. It's like people always say, well, died before their time. No, they don't. They die when they're supposed to die.
Yeah.
It's like, it's one of the things you learn on the other side is that, like, there are certain things that are set in stone. The time you come in, the time you leave, the method in which you leave.
Yeah.
People don't understand that, but that's the way it is. It's like somebody says, well, I think I'll die in this new lifetime by getting hit by a truck. I mean, what kind of normal person would say, that's going to hurt, man, I'm not going to do that. But on the other side, there's no pain. You don't think about the pain. You don't think about the suffering. You don't think about who's there when you die or who's the one hitting you. None of that, because it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I just saw that on the way home after I brought my 3 cats from my friend's house. I've been between houses. I just moved in this last week and got my cats in today. But there's this big truck with a huge trailer in front of me. And I think it was a groundhog. It was instantly transitioned. I mean, this loud thud. And the poor thing was skidded across the road. I mean, I don't want to say how bad it was injured, but it was instantly killed. Thank God. So it didn't suffer. But I have to think that not necessarily that incident, but Jeff's dog Jack and my other cat Biddy, who also just recently passed, within a week of Jack going away, there must have been something tied in with both of them, because Jeff and I've been on this radio show with Jeff for the last 8 years. It'll be 8 years in December this year. So something, I think, tied our two animals together.
Yeah, they've all they're in the same circle. They're in the same soul circle. That's why. Just like humans, animals move in the same circle, soul circle. Sometimes they go in, sometimes they come out. Just depends.
Still doesn't make it easy, though.
No, it never does. I mean, my husband and I got married. We had 8 dogs. Blended family. We have a farm, so. But it's like, I had 3 dobies. He had some dogs. We rescued some other dogs. It's just, and they die of old age. It's not much you do. It's like they add so much joy to the life, to your lifetime, even though they're only here for a short time.
Yeah, 20 years is a long time for a cat. So she was there at that time. Was half my lifespan at that point.
Yeah. So it's like my Springer here. She's going on 15. So, she tolerates the 2 babies.
Well, the show ends at 5 till. One thing I want to ask you, I know you said you'd help hear some, but what are some things that we could go over that would help here? I know you said the infinity orb, and can anyone call on the angel Ariel? Or I know I've called on Michael. I've kind of called on all of them before, but what were some things that you would recommend, or that maybe you can do later? Or now, or whenever.
If you're, once you get rid of the negatives, then you can lay down the black salt, and that will keep anything negative. See, that's the problem if you have somebody that's in hospice or somebody that's actively dying, it's going to attract negatives. They're like vultures, for goodness sakes.
Tapeworm's the one I saw, but you said those were watchers. So, but I don't know if I've seen that. Christina saw something that was like a weird spider, though, and there's been other things. So
that's the creepy crawly dudes. They're annoying. That's what they are.
Some of these things kind of run to and from and look for houses that they can feed them.
They do. They do. Yeah.
I want to kick
Yep.
their ass because I'm getting tired of it. I'm
Well,
tired.
fortunately, you don't have an attachment. These are only ones that are like standing outside per se. They haven't come in. They're just waiting and watching. But like I said, you could lay down black salt if there wasn't any inside. Uh, I don't think there's any. I can't feel any or see any ones that are inside. I see them outside, like they're waiting, for the person to transition, and they're watching.
And let's
So
say a hypothetical that somehow not her soul per se, but the bad ones get a soul. Do they take it to hell or they destroy it? I mean, or feed on
what
it? I mean,
what they do is they utilize it for, like, if I say I gave you the black salt, you sealed it, you sealed your house. They can't get in, but they can send earthbound entity or a human entity through, because it won't stop a human. It only stops the inhumans. So they could send them through there. I've had it happen before. That's why I know. And they'll give the people bad dreams, nightmares. Things start happening. Things start moving. You start getting, poked or attacked or whatever.
there's
But
been
like I
things like
said,
that.
yeah, see,
Yes,
they
sir.
can use them to do that, and that's what they do. And then when they're done with them, they just discard them.
There's like an ear thing, an eye poke with her, just like feeling a
Yeah,
touch on the head. That could be something good touching you, but still
yeah,
the ear thing. What creeped me out about it is I prayed for it to go away, and it did, and it came back the other day in the bed. But mostly it does it on that couch, but it hasn't been doing there anymore since I prayed about it. So it
yeah.
seemed like something was like putting its finger in my ear. Is what it felt like.
That's
That's
annoying.
little wet Willie.
Yeah, yeah, and it's but annoying, like driving
Yeah,
you nuts.
yeah,
Like it's like it's just itching. And then when you
yeah,
scratch,
yeah.
worse.
You've got a combination of them. You've got family members there, and then you've got the negatives outside.
And her mother's here too, and her mother can be kind of moody and has some mental illness. She's 70, and there's some strange things with her that we wonder if
Yeah,
there's like one
I'm sure.
attached to her or something.
Yeah, demons are kind of like stalkers. They'll wait and they'll watch, and people don't understand that they can watch for years before they decide to attach or decide
Mhm.
not to attach. It's not a matter of seconds or days or weeks or months. They can wait years before they attach themselves. I mean, I've seen it happen.
And I may have had some for a while because of the UFO stuff I've seen and stuff like just the weird stuff I've seen that may interest them, and they try to watch and figure out what's going on with you or whatever. And I
Yeah,
had some weird stuff with UFO stuff in my early 20s that I saw these crafts so much and weird beings that some kind of military agency came out with a silent helicopter set over the house, and the guy waved mockingly for the cockpit and it shot off. It was like some kind of, I don't know what it was, maybe a government agency or maybe a different kind of, I don't know what the hell it was, but something came out because I was seeing it. Never talked to me face to face, but
uh huh,
it's like they sent out some kind of recon vehicle to see what was going on. So there's been weird stuff that's probably attracted things
yeah.
for sure. It's tiring. Year 13 of the radio show. We're still alive. Year 13.
This is what you're meant to do to bring awareness. That's why.
I've had a thing that you're correct for sure with that, because when I first started doing this, I was having trouble getting interviews. I said a prayer and had a UFO sighting. Next thing you know, I'm on the phone with Stanton Friedman, nuclear physicist, Lloyd Pye, Star Child Skull. They're all past now, but it was like people I never thought I would ever meet ever from documentaries. It was like connected. So I
Yeah.
do believe
Yep.
raising awareness and consciousness.
Yep.
I just got goosebumps again, so that's always a good
Yep.
one for sure. But definitely, well, I've enjoyed it so much. I've asked other people about this, and they've been helpful. But yours definitely takes the cake. It's definitely
Mhm.
giving me the goosebumps. So I know
Yeah.
that's a validation when I get those all over my arms.
Yeah. When we get off of here, I'll take care of business for you.
I appreciate it so much, and I'm in Florida. If you need any other info, let me
Nope.
know. And
I,
definitely,
I only need a picture to connect.
all right. Well, thank you
Because
so
I've
much.
seen you face to face, it's better than a picture.
Okay. What is your web address? Is there a website?
It's demonseer.com.
Okay, and I believe it was Laura Lee that introduced me to you, right? Laura Lee, does that name ring a bell?
Yeah,
Laura Lee?
yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Yep.
that's where I learned about you from. I forget. I talk to different people and I forget who introduces me to who, but that's who it was for sure. She's coming on at some point, but she wrote me about my dog. She I was in grief and stuff and told me about
Yeah.
you. That's it for sure. Well, thanks so much to her, and thanks so much to you, and thanks to Jay and Joe. I've appreciated so much, and thank you.
I had a great time. You guys are cool.
Thanks.
And for some reason, you don't look like the poltergeist little lady, but you remind me of her, some mannerism. Just the way you're deep. You're deep like that. You
This
know what's
house
up.
is clear.
Yeah, you don't really look like her, but for some reason, I was like, she's like the poltergeist lady. Just the power of it, the lady. But I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
You guys take care of yourselves.
All right, take care.
Thanks.
Have a good weekend. Good
All
night,
righty.
everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
All right, you're listening to United Public Radio, and we got a Loki number 6 coming next week. It's got Kane the Conqueror. We don't know who the villain's going to be, but this house is clear. She don't look like her really, but for some reason it reminded me of like the power of that little lady coming to kick butt. Kick
that
butt.
didn't click until you said that, but with the way she was talking about how to clear houses, yeah, she's definitely that.
She's not squeaky, and she don't really look
no
that much.
It shouldn't have a Texas accent either. This
can't.
house is clear.
That's definitely. I'll have to check out her books for sure. Usually when I get goosebumps,
she's got 9 books. I was so shocked. I'm glad we got that in there. But yeah, there's 2 on to the paranormal, and then there's one like on a dog, like the spirit of a dog, Susie's dog or Susie's Quest, something like that. So there's some good material over there.
Well, I will definitely pick up her books at some point for sure. And definitely, there's stuff going on here, and she definitely seemed to have a different view on it than most people, and I definitely think there's something to it. I'll have to call on this aerial assassin angel chick. I already did it, so hopefully there's a ninja angel in here doing stuff. But it's just been tiring. I feel so drained. My neck's been thrown out. I've had blood pressure stuff. I just feel like somebody beat the crap out of me.
It's weird. My neck's the same way. After the last few days of moving in here, I've had these just exhausted feeling and I haven't really done anything but unbox things, and I have no motivation, no energy to do anything.
Well, say some prayers. We may attract things because we do this show. I mean, that may
could be.
To us. Oh no! Stop
there
it.
Goes the dog.
Yeah, there it goes. Hopefully you saw anything. All right, Zara, chill out. All right, everybody, have a good weekend, and thanks for listening. We'll see you next week. That's the X-Files show. Jerry Avalos will be sitting in. We'll just be talking about X-Files, and he just watched a bunch of them good because I remember some of them, but not a lot.
I don't remember any. I've been seeing it in so long. It's been a while.
Stop it. All right, good night, everybody. Have a good weekend. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Jay. Take care, man.
Yep.
Would you quit? Sarah! Gosh. All righty. We'll just sit here until Joe appears. I'm sure he'll turn it off.
A little
Sarah,
late on
will you stop it? Why are you barking?
All right, everybody. It's time for you to get out and nominate for your favorite podcast. There are 4 amazing shows I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards, the longest-running premier awards event in the podcasting space, open to shows worldwide. You can vote at podcastawards.com and nominate the following shows. Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast in the categories of education and storyteller drama. This show is based on the world-famous Writers of the Future contest created in 1983 by L. Ron Hubbard and provides writing tips and art advice from contest judges, winners, and industry professionals for writers and artists wanting to take their next step, along with the needed inspiration to keep on going. Next one, The Centralist, in the category of politics and news. The Centralist is a much different news and political program. It is not opinion news, it's just the facts, so you, the people, can make up your own minds on the different stories reported on. Listen as Joe Montaldo brings to you just the facts from trusted sources. Science and Beyond, in the category of science and medicine. Science and Beyond is a true science-based program that explores every aspect of science, from how things work to why we need science. And where science can't explain something, we go beyond to see if we can figure it out on our own how something works. The Outer Realm, in the category of society culture. The Outer Realm is a very popular show hosted by Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano, with guests who are well-versed within their respective fields of ufology, paranormal, cryptozoology, and anything else that would be deemed otherworldly. Nothing is off limits in the Outer Realm. Michelle is an international public figure and has spent the last 18 years working in the paranormal. Her co-host Amelia is a remote viewing medium with 9 years experience working in missing children and cold and active murder cases. So go to podcastawards.com to vote for these 4 shows and any others you enjoy listening to. That's podcastawards.com.